day it's here with you. The moments passed and so did you on Sunday. Yeah, on Sunday I felt the need, I could have cried. I had the tears, I know I tried on Sunday. Yeah, on Sunday.
My journey is kind of long. I started as a kind of classical violinist, and I played a lot of chamber music in high school, and then I listened to heavy metal music and rap, and then I got into jazz, and then drum and bass. And a lot of musicians and got into drum and bass, live drum and bass.
He's 63 years old. Looks good for his age.
My album 151A came out in April, and it's, yeah, I guess it hasn't been a year, but it's coming out in Europe in a couple months. So all over again. I gotta go to Europe and do this whole thing all over again. Yeah, 151A is also Ichigo Ichie, like Ichigo Ichie, and it also means one time, one meeting, which is a Japanese performance aesthetic that's derived from tea ceremony. But it means basically this one moment in time is unique. Enjoy it with all its imperfections and/or mistakes. Looping's kind of it's dangerous.
It's a high wire act.
Yeah, it's like competitive sports kind of. Yeah, we're competing against each other, but yeah. I think it's very dangerous in that like you could really mess up, and there's really nothing you can do about it. But people are forgiving, you know, when you play live.
For Kay and myself, it's just like it becomes a part of playing your instrument, you know.
Yeah, so the arrangements you create with these loop pedals, a lot of it's like thought out in advance, but you know, when you're actually playing or soloing or enjoying it or getting a reaction from the crowd, which is a huge part of like the experience, you know, for a musician. It's like, yeah, it's amazing, you know, it's something you could get lost in, yeah.
Even look, I think I locked it in a cage, wrote a novel, 'cause everybody likes to read a novel. It started with a word, and it started pretty well, about a rare and fragile bird.
Like the violin for me is kind of something that I've always played. It wasn't until recently that people really took notice. It was always my money maker. Like that was I would score strings for people, and I would write things and do this kind of thing. And I played in people's bands with violin, but it wasn't until recently where I was like, I noticed that, oh, this is like something that's a little different from like what everybody else does. So I kind of really dug into that and try to make something unique out of it.
And I'm actually a bass player. When we met years ago, I was playing double bass, and you know, and kind of teetering the line between jazz and classical and world music and stuff.
And drum and bass.
And drum and bass, you know, country music and stuff. But I started picking up a banjo and writing songs as Tall Tall Trees, and yeah, I just became more interested in widening the palette and pushing the boundaries of what banjo can do. And I think that's why we get along so well musically, is because we're both doing the same. We're kind of kindred spirits in the way that we're pushing the instruments to do different things, and as both songwriters, you know, to create different palettes to inform our music.
Yeah, I use Japanese in my songs. Just it kind of started as like I was really focused on just keeping this album violin and vocals only. Mostly. I mean, it obviously didn't happen. It didn't work out that way. But like, I think in using vocals, I was looking for a new way to like kind of do like African like layering, where I could sing and then have backgrounds that wouldn't interfere with the vocals. So I decided to use another language, and then I realized I was like, oh, I speak Japanese, and I've written songs in Japanese. So I started using that kind of like instead of like African, you know, sounding things. Instead of like making up syllables, I just decided to just write in Japanese, and that's kind of like what you hear as a multi-layered effect behind the vocals. Okay, like an example of a line that doesn't tie in is like, I have a song called "It All Began with a Burst," and I say "Kesaka ni sasareta," which means I was bitten by a mosquito this morning, and I was playing in Japan, and people were just like, that's like the strangest, funniest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, well, I can get away with a lot of stuff. I have like a lot of inappropriate Japanese lyrics in it, and then I realized when I went to Japan that it's like how inappropriate they are. I never really thought that Japanese people would be listening to my music, but it's actually kind of, my album's kind of taking off in Japan. So everything is on a scale of 1 to 10. The excitement is what?
Yeah,
11,
12.
11, 12. I think.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know.
The thing that I'm most excited about, like what's happening now, is I'm now in this position where I can just, this is my job, is to create music and to inspire people and to make people happy. And like last night, I played at the 930 Club, which is like this huge place in DC. It was probably the biggest show. Like 1,000 people came, just to hear my music and to hear us perform and kind of to think that I was like opening up there. Like a few months before that, probably like 8 months before that, I was just opening up. Like nobody really knew who I was, which is pretty incredible that I could just come to that. Hi, this is Kishi Bashi and Tall
This is
Tall
Mike.
Trees.
What's up?
You're listening to Baeblemusic.
Been a long time. All the streets are warm today.